This is Dr. Lester Hartman from Westwood-Mansfield Pediatrics, and as I've said before, this is a video for patients of Westwood-Mansfield Pediatrics. And if you are from some other group, we recommend that you follow your pediatrician's advice and speak to your pediatrician. Today we're going to discuss diaper rashes. It's the chronic long-term thing that we see with children and a big worry of parents. I want to kind of give a few clear guidelines to start, almost in a sense rules a little bit about this. Number one, if a diaper rash looks bad but a child is not in pain, it's very unlikely to be something serious in general. Now, little newborn that get blistery type rashes who just come out of the nursery, those can be painless. We do need to know about those ASAP. But if you've got a 15-month-old or 18-month-older who's happy with a rash, you wipe the rash, it doesn't hurt, it's not an emergent issue, and we can take care of it for you and help you. Number two, red-headed kids and blonde-headed kids are more likely to have diaper rashes recurrently, and maybe the ones that need to have creams and barriers put on their rear end and the groin area to protect themselves from rashes. Number three, and this is true for blondes and redheads especially, but when a child has diarrhea, it is very difficult, no matter what we use, to fix a diaper rash until the diarrhea goes away. So when we're into a stomach bug season, oftentimes kids will have rashes, and it can be difficult because they can be painful at times. And that's when you sit kids in tubs to rinse them off rather than trying to wipe them sometimes with wipes. So these are some basic rules. And remember, your child's skin sensitivity is something to assess. Redheads and blondes have very sensitive skin, so it's not unusual for them to get recurrent rashes. And it can be frustrating for parents because they come in multiple times to get a rash that they want fixed. And the reality of it is until the children are out of diapers, or as I jokingly say, you walk around with a pooper scooper, you're not going to be able to fully fix these rashes. You know, many times, rashes, for example, of yeast infections are oftentimes after antibiotics. Rashes that are in the folds of the skin, you know, in other words, when you open up the diaper, you may not necessarily see it in a baby with chubby legs, but you spread it apart and you'll see that V-shaped fold. Those are the rashes that are more likely to be yeast. And rashes that are not so much in the fold of the skin are less likely to be yeast. Sometimes parents have a tendency to think many of the rashes we deal with are yeast related when they can be just from the urine irritating, from heat, from moisture, from one loose bowel movement. Things like this can cause the irritation as well. Now, what I usually do when parents come in with diaper rashes, I, number one, assess the skin, look at the child's hair and skin type, and then what I usually do is I take the diaper down and I look at the different kinds of rashes that I think of. Yeast and irritation are the most common types that we see by far. So what do? If we think it's an irritation rash, there are different things that may help with things. For example, people like to use some types of things like A&D or Vaseline, things like that. And every pediatrician is a little different. I'm more a Vaseline type person because it's so much easier to put on and wipe off. Whereas some of the pasty ones you have to rub fairly hard. And there are always new products coming out. I also suggest sometimes if that didn't work, Bag Balm. It's a cream that's an udder cream that's used in cows. It's a green tin can with a cow on front. You usually can get at pharmacies. Then there's things like Criticade, Triple Paste, and things like this. And these are things that parents can try. And remember, your wipes sometimes, you know, with aloe may help, not perfumed, can also help too. Occasionally you have to change the type of diaper that you may use as well. So these are some of the basics of it. The other, in addition, things, sometimes kids will get fiery red around their anus, the opening where you poop. And when it looks really fiery red, occasionally in young children, that can be strep, and you should come in and let us take a look at that. But basically, remember this. Those top basic rules I just said at the beginning of this are very important to remember. And also, even in the diaper area, if you find a rash that doesn't blanch, In other words, please go to the Rash Basics that talks about how to blanch a rash. It's called Rash Basics in this group. And if it doesn't blanch, please let us know. That's extremely rare, but if you do get that, you need to let us know. This is Dr. Lester Hartman, Westwood-Mansfield Pediatrics, proactive in your child's care, empowering families for over 50 years. Thank you and have a good day.